Rawclusive.
The first question that everybody wants to know, and I want to go ahead and hear your guys' opinion, and then of course we're gonna work into my man AV and Macari. All right. So first, starting with my man, Kings and Dreams, KND, because you went hard on somebody when they said you don't need game. You was like, I'm paraphrasing, but you was like, you do need game to travel and holler at these foreign women. So I'm gonna throw the question at you:
All
Are
right.
some of these men with the passport, are they tricking overseas because ain't nobody coming back with no wives? There's no rings on any fingers. From what on your end of what they've been talking about or whatever, have you kind of called cap, or just in your opinion, are they really traveling the trick?
So there's some men that strictly do travel, as for women. We call it mongering. So where they will go and basically have relations with women in abundance, right? So they'll go strictly for that. Then there's bros that will travel actually to learn the culture and things of that sort. So are you asking me if there are some brothers that strictly go there for the ladies? Then I would answer yes, right? But
Mhm.
now, are you gonna ask me like all brothers that have been traveling recently, are they going strictly for that? Then I will say no.
I got into one of the travel communities. It was a beautiful black expat community. Matter of fact, the world was so small. I ran into a brother and we were talking and wrapping it up. And I said, "Oh, you've been living here 15 years? Maybe you know my uncle. He lived here for a year in Playa del Carmen." And he was like, "Yeah, I know your uncle. Yeah, he was cool. And so it was a small world. And then he invited me to this black expat community. And believe it or not, it was a huge, like, the venue moves every couple weeks or something like that. But there was brothers there. There was beautiful sisters there, right? So when you hear about this, brothers coming over and tricking and stuff like that, there's more to it. And I'm actually there for the culture. I'm there for the networking. Now, as far as what I saw, I didn't see the tricking like it's getting capped on some of these brothers. What I did see is I saw some brothers come there and even sisters, and they try to do the exact same things they were doing in the States. It's like,
Mm,
why'd you leave the States if you're gonna come out here? You know what I mean? Like, most of the time I went out, I got a little footage, but I actually spent time in local bars where I actually had to practice my Spanish, stuff like that, get to know the people. So you were right about that. I kind of more went for the culture. This ain't something that like I jumped on because of women. I actually wrote this in my senior book when I was 17, that I was going to retire young and I was going to travel the world, because then I knew something was going on in the States and something is wrong. And I'm actually putting out a video on Friday that's going to kind of tip into something that's going on, just to kind of open people's eyes. There's stuff going on right now that I think people need to be aware of, whether you are for passport traveling or whether you want to stay up in the States. Now, as far as me and what I think, I don't have a problem with, you'll never hear me talk about any coaches or anything like that, because the truth is the women over there want guys that are men too, right? And I'm going to tell you personally, if you coming over there and you're gonna ruin it for everybody, I'd rather you stay in the States. Don't come. I'm not telling everybody to come over and travel. If you ain't got yourself together, stay your ass in the States. And that's the way I feel about it.
Like you said, I commingle with a lot of people because I'm not a dating coach or I'm not a passport bro. At the end of the day, man, I feel like men need to go where they're celebrated, not tolerated. Now, at the same time, like you guys said, I'm gonna side not with necessarily the dating coaches, but I truly believe that it is a bit easier, right, to flourish, I guess, with the females in foreign countries. I've gone to foreign countries, but the reason why I've gone to foreign countries is to escape the women that I had here, right? So a lot of guys that I know that are okay with women here, they go to foreign countries, they get their rocks off, and they come back home. At the end of the day, it's kind of like the same thing. The problem is, and I'm an older guy, I'm a newer content creator, the influence. Not everybody deserves to be on the microphone. And I don't have a problem with the passport bros, and I don't have a problem with, the dating coaches and shit like that. My only concern is that the sphere of influence, the amount of reach, and people are saying that people are so impressionable. Young men are so impressionable. and they don't know how to deal with adversity, right? So they get a couple of women that don't want to swipe right with them and shit like that. They don't get attention. Now they just want to leave the foreign country and go somewhere where it's a lot easier. But my thing is, when you don't work on yourself, if you are lame here in the States, you eventually will be a lame in Brazil, Colombia, wherever you decide to go. So at the end of the day, man, I don't have a problem with what they're doing. You do whatever. I think a man needs to do whatever he wants to do. It's kind of like no fap. If a nigga don't want to play with his dick, don't play with your dick. If you do, you do. At the end of the day, man, like I said, I feel like when the community start to grow and it's outside of networking and it's just strictly for women, it's giving young impressionable men the idea that whenever the going gets tough, it's time to pack up your bags and leave the country. And that's not necessarily the right way to approach manhood, masculinity, adversity, because masculinity, part of being a man is sharpening your iron and shit like that, is going through adversity, how you deal with rough situations and adversity, not necessarily just changing your climate or your zip code for a woman because it's easier to get laid. That's my only concern with all of this shit, man, because I feel like for the younger guys, if you got sons or nephews and shit like that, I see these communities growing and not enough content is being looked at for the things that you guys actually need. I'm 48 years old. I made a lot of mistakes and I didn't have these tools. That's why I'm in this space right now. But I see the younger guys just wanting to pick up their bags and leave the States. And to believe it or not, the United States is one of the best countries out there right now. We're fucking it up right now, but this is the land of opportunity for the most part. So if a man wants to go stretch his dollar, go ahead and do it. But I think we don't have the grasp and the reach on the young impressionable guy. They're not listening to the OGs and giving us an opportunity to say the other side of the coin. You know what I mean? As opposed to just traveling abroad.
Okay, Lucario, you over there about to explode.
No,
You kind of called BS from just what you see and what you heard from other content creators that do travel. But it's almost as if you're like myself. We're not exactly defending the women here, but in a way, it's just like you guys are killing the abundance mindset. But let's go back to that original question. But from your end, are you on a cap on the traveling for tricking?
Well, this is the thing. I know that dudes are going over there tricking, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if a dude want to trick, I'm fine with that. If he's tricking, like, I don't care about that. I think a man, like you were saying, a man should be able to do whatever he wants to do in his life. So if you want to trick here, trick there, if you want to be a trick, that's cool. And I never cared if a guy tricked. I just say that I don't personally do it, and I don't necessarily support it. Like, if somebody was like, "Hey, would you, in your opinion, should you trick?" I would probably say no. But if you're a man, you should do what you do. My whole issue really is that, and it's not even about the passport bros, because, I went over to Brazil and all these other countries when I was younger. I'm 41. So back when I was like 23, 24, I was doing all the stuff that a lot of these guys are doing now. The issue really comes from, and especially with dating coaches and the whole passport bro thing, and I said this on my video the other day, is that there's not really an issue. The issue really comes from YouTube and the internet and people saying things. Right. So for example, what happened is that there was people were saying, well, if you're, because there's, guys can fly to another country, then dating coaches are unnecessary. So what happens is when you make statements like that, of course, if I'm a dating coach and I know how necessary it is for there to be a dating coach in society, I'm gonna be like, wait, what is it? Wait a second, what is that even about? You see what I'm saying? So then what happened was that because things like that were said, that's the only reason I'm even talking about it. You see what I'm saying? But other than that, I'm like, whatever. You see what I'm saying? So I think the issue is that people are going back and forth with it because, for example, I remember it was a year ago. And I actually saw this video pop up the other day. You know how on YouTube it tells you at the bottom how long ago the video was up? Right. So I was on O'Shea's channel, and it was a year ago where he had a video saying, it said something to the effect of dating coaches are obsolete because of passport bros and stuff like that, right? Damn, so this is what I'm saying. The gossip on YouTube is causing the friction in the situation.
Yeah. YouTube is causing the beef.
The algorithm. Yeah.
He did that to get his views, man.
So then when those things happen, then that's when you get the back and forth. Because then what happens is, of course, if you're a passport bro, you're like, yeah, fuck those guys. And then the dating coach is gonna be like, well, hold on for a second, and then it's gonna go back and forth. So that's really where it's coming from. But again, my thing is this: if you're tricking, then do it and just be about it, but don't act like it's not what you're doing. So if you're actually doing it, then that's cool, but just let that be known. You feel what I'm saying? But if you're, but don't pretend that you're not doing that and act like it's something else. That's all I'm saying about it.
I have a friend that actually kind of doesn't believe in the whole pickup artist thing. And look, he's a good friend of mine. But he put out a video, and I'm not gonna say the name of the dude in the channel, but to me, in that video, he actually proved why you still have to learn at least those social cues in order to be able to go talk to people. Mm-hmm. He proved against his own argument to me because he was showing how this one pickup artist was doing cold game and it wasn't working out. It looked cringeworthy. I cringed watching it. But right. If you have somebody telling that dude the real, like, hey man, if she not sending you these signals, don't go make an ass of yourself. Or if she's turning away from you while she's talking, you need to walk the hell off. You know what I mean? Or if she looking at you with her head down and looking up at you while she talking, she like you or something. Right. These things are still needed. Like young men are awkward today. And they need you guys to be able to talk to those things. So I think there's a lane for everybody. That's why you never hear me knock that, because that stuff is needed. That stuff is needed. As well as passport brothers, quote unquote passport brothers, whatever you want to call it, right? Guys telling people, yes, you can get women here, but there's more to it than that too, right? If you remember, Reese, my live stream, I talked about, hey, if you look through my content enough, I said, hey, just because you here don't mean they're going to holler at you. You still have to be a man about yours when you go up to them. You know what I mean? You can't be a slob, nothing like that. You still got to be a man at the end of the day.
Kind of just going back, like what AV said, like if you're a lame in the States, you're going to be a lame outside of the United States. And so I did a video, I want to say it was last week or the week before last, where I was kind of going off on dating coaches and passport bros, because I was saying like both are needed. As you said, like I guess I'm in the middle, if you will, but both are needed because what Sean said, right? Like there are a lot of men that are socially awkward, especially now with the internet stage. I'm 37 years old, so I'm a bit of a hybrid, because like before all we had was like AOL Messenger, Yahoo, but like for when we used to talk to women, we had to go up to talk to women. Now, dudes are just going on dating apps or just going on Instagram or going on Facebook. And so when you're trying to get that genuine connection with a woman face to face, some dudes don't really know how to talk or even engage in conversation.
Right.
Yeah. Some dudes don't even know how to talk to their own homeboys. You get what I mean?
Right. It's a fact.
But it's the truth though. It's the truth. So when when I guess quote unquote passport bros say I'm going over here, I don't need a dating coach. For me, like I think that's disingenuous, because maybe you don't need a dating coach because you know how to talk to women and things like that. But there's a strong percentage of men that really don't know how to talk to women. And there are men that hit me up behind the scenes that talk to me and they tell me that they're socially awkward. And like I'm not a dating coach, but like I will have a conversation with them and I coach them up in a sense.